Kyle Delaney here, bringing you my UFC 134 predictions for UFC Rio tonight. I know it's a little late, been a little busy with writing some articles, and football preseason started. I was playing paintball the other day with the kids, but with the football team, little team building. But just been busy, but still here. Figured a video would for UFC 134 was totally needed. I'm not gonna do every single fight in this video. I'd like to go over the three main events, break them down a little bit. Done articles on all three of them. You can you can check them out at Couch Fighter. But just first, before I get into anything, always thanking the followers. Everybody is beyond supportive. The entire Couch Fighter staff beyond supportive. We've had two new writers. We've added a new writer, Karen. She's doing a great job over there. She's writing her second article about some of the top UFC rivalries. She wrote her first one. You gotta check it out. And then there's Sabrina Schmeck, who's doing a great job over there as well. Gary McGlaughlin doing a good job. So just a shout to them, and thanks again to the followers. In regards to what's happening today, Hurricane Irene is hitting the tri-state area, the East Coast, very soon. Everybody's kind words and support, concern has been beyond appreciated. My family's dug in, so we're going to be, I know this is my office down here for shooting my vlogs, but this is where we're going to be for an entire day. So this will be the last time I'll shoot down here. I'm going to move back to my apartment very soon. I'm not up there because the power goes out very quickly. So anyway, hopping right into it, thanks again to everybody. Thanks for the concern. Hopefully we'll get through Irene. Everybody will be all right. Everybody on the East Coast, hope everybody stays safe. So that being said, I just like to talk very quickly. UFC Rio in Brazil, Rio de Janeiro. This is an absolutely enormous event, not just for the country itself, but for Ultimate Fighting and MMA. This is going to be one of the biggest venues. I mean, not bigger than Canada, UFC 129, I believe, but this is huge for the sport. Going back to where some of the greats, some of the all-time legends of MMA have come from, the Silvas, the Nogueiras, the Gracies. So many phenomenal fighters have come from there, and this is going to be big for UFC. It's going to be big for the sport of MMA, along with Fox Sports being signed. I'm not really going to talk about that in this video. Huge, though, for the sport. So going back to the mecca of that produces phenomenal fighters, this is going to be not only a huge crowd, but they're going to be backing some of the best Brazilian fighters that have ever come out of there. That being said, I'd like to talk about first the Schaub and Nogueira fight. This is going to be, I think this is going to be fight of the night, or not fight of the night, knockout of the night in this fight. You have heavy hitter Brendan Schaub, phenomenal boxer. As soon as I started watching Tough, I saw him fight once. I'm like, well, this kid's going to be something special. He just possesses such phenomenal boxing, and he's really trying to become more than just a one-dimensional fighter. He's a super freakish athlete. He's done college football. He's done NFL football. Maybe not the most successful career there, but that's fine. He's coming from an athletic background, and he's learning jiu-jitsu. He's doing his best. He's a purple belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. It's not black belt like Nogueira, but the kid is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, very few could stand and bang with this kid. Even when he lost to Roy Nelson, he was picking him apart on their feet. Roy Nelson, it takes a Mack truck to knock the guy out. So I think it's very hard to judge that performance because I thought Schaub looked very good in that fight, and Nelson just connected with a big shot that put him out. And Schaub's work ethic, his training. You're gonna find very few fighters that are like him. He goes all over the place and trains, just trying to perfect his craft and become the best mixed martial artist he can ever be. And I personally think he's gonna do great things in the heavyweight division. And it's really the only thing we're questioning is what type of talent has he faced. He hasn't faced the elite talent. And that's not a shot to Mirko Cro Cop. He's a phenomenal fighter, but he's seen better days. He's not the heavyweight he used to be. So Minotauro Nogueira will be a big test for Brendan Schaub. In regards to Minotauro Nogueira, a legend, one of the best submission fighters of all time, 20 submission victories in Pride and UFC combined, phenomenal fighter. Question is, though, is he healthy? And he comes out the other day and he says, I rushed my rehab. And I tweeted this earlier. It's like, why would you come out and tell everybody that you rushed your rehab? It's called rehab for a reason. I know people are saying he had a great training camp and all this. It's called rehab for a reason. Okay, you are meant to go through a certain amount of time so the body can withstand any type of movement and recovery. It has to be done in that certain time frame. So rushing the rehab, and it doesn't matter what type of health he's in, it makes you question, what is he going to be like in the fight? He could tell us, people have said they're 100% all the time. And then after the fight, they lose. They're like, oh, I wasn't 100%. Well, this just leaves us the question, is Minotauro Nogueira 100%? And I question it. And I'm not bashing. I think he's a great fighter. He's one of the best heavyweights to ever come out of Brazil. He's got phenomenal wins in Pride. And, he just hasn't been the same. And, I think what it comes down to in this fight, we know Schaub is a heavy hitter, and Nogueira before UFC had this phenomenal chin that was unmatched. But he's been TKO'd or KO'd by Velasquez and Frank Mir. And, I'm not bashing Velasquez. I think he's an evolving striker. I think people give him a lot more credit. I know he trains at AKA. He's a phenomenal striker, but he's still evolving. And Mir, I think he's a good boxer. I think he's obviously he's better at BJJ and grappling. Brendan Schaub is going to test his chin. And if we say that Velasquez and Mir were big challenges for him, if Nogueira wants to keep this thing standing, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. And when the way this fight breaks down, when they meet in the cage, I think Schaub will come out aggressive, but he cannot be too aggressive. The closer he gets to Nogueira, the more he risks of getting taken to the ground. If this fight goes to the ground, Nogueira will finish it. Doesn't matter if you've been training in BJJ. Nogueira is one of the few true black belts. There are black belts, but there are true black belts, guys who can submit you at any time. And Nogueira is that type of true black belt, just like the Jake Shields and the Gracies. He's a true black belt. And I know I'm missing names, but I'm just saying a few. And the way I see it panning out, I see the first round, I see Nogueira getting rocked, I see him getting back up, trying to sprawl, not working, and I see Schaub connecting with a huge, huge, vicious overhand right, finishing this fight, and leaving Nogueira to question where his career stands, and maybe questioning whether he should have rushed his rehab or not. So I'm calling Schaub KO victory, first round, knockout of the night. No doubt about it. Schaub just, and you know what, I said in my article, maybe face Velasquez and Dos Santos. Maybe, crazier things have happened. I know Overeem's they're in negotiations with him. But, Schaub's paid his dues. Maybe one more fight, a stand-up battle. But, let's say Dos Santos wins and you get a Dos Santos and Schaub. I know they're a little bit far apart in talent, but it'd be one heck of a fight to watch. A stand-up battle, total war that would probably only last about 2 minutes. But I'd love to watch it. So that's my take on that fight. Knockout of the night, Brendan Schaub, first round KO. Shogun versus Griffin. Now, if you didn't notice, this is my Shogun Rua shirt. I'm in support of Shogun tonight, and it doesn't have anything to do with me being against Forrest Griffin. I think he's a great fighter. He's probably one of the toughest and grittiest fighters we'll ever see in MMA, and he is the original Ultimate Fighter. But Shogun is healthy. He's going back to his original shoot boxing coach, and I think we're going to see the Shogun Rua, maybe not of old, but I'm thinking the Shogun Rua of the Lyoto Machida fights. Now, the one thing I'd like to say is oh, well, people are saying that Shogun didn't look the same in the Griffin fight. Absolutely. I think he could say he's hurt, and it doesn't sound like excuses, but watch Shogun in that fight. He was gassed in the second round. I know Griffin brought the fight to him, but Shogun did not look healthy. In the second round, he threw a kick, I believe, and it looked like he had nothing on. That's not Shogun Rua. Okay? We watched Shogun Rua do 5 rounds of back-and-forth battling with Lyoto Machida, and he looked crisp the entire fight. That was not the Shogun Rua. And it leads me to question how Forrest Griffin stands going to this fight. And a couple things about Forrest Griffin. He did come off a pretty good victory against Rich Franklin. And, he's had injuries just like Shogun Rua. And that leaves you to question where they're both at. I know they're both healthy now. Shogun hasn't had any surgeries, and he's been training very hard. But, it leaves you to question where they're standing. And the way I see this fight panning out, I see Shogun Rua coming out. He's going to do some leg kicks. I think he's going to keep his distance, stay away from the cage. He might go down the first round, and Griffin will try and edge it out. I see Shogun Rua coming out in the second round and landing a massive shot on Forrest Griffin. And, everybody's like, Forrest Griffin has a great chin. He battles. But, he's been knocked out before. He's been TKO'd before. Anderson Silva made his boxing look foolish. I know that's the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world, but Forrest Griffin's chin is questioned, and Shogun Rua's chin is probably unmatched. I haven't seen anybody who could survive it being like John, just not get knocked out and tap to lose. Tap out of the fight, TKO victory. Shogun Rua never got knocked down in that fight. So the chin edge is Shogun Rua. I think the striking edge is Shogun Rua. The wrestling and the BJJ goes to force, but this fight is going to be Shogun Rua. It's going to be a second-round TKO in devastating fashion. So we're going to see the Shogun Rua, maybe not of old, but we're going to see a new, motivated, healthy Shogun Rua with devastating power, just like the Lyoto Machida first fight, maybe the second fight as well. And I think Forrest Griffin, mentally, he's saying that he doesn't like being in Brazil, he doesn't like being away from home, and it's very minor, but mental is very important in MMA. And if Forrest Griffin's out of his element, it leaves you to question, well, what mindset is he in going into this fight? He's not enjoying Brazil. Well, it could be sticking in the back of his mind, and call me crazy, but, fighting is very mental. And if Forrest Griffin isn't focused, or if there's something, just the tiniest thing wrong, Shogun Rua is going to jump all over it. And I'm calling Shogun Rua on this one. Lastly, Silva versus Okami. People could give Okami all the credit, and I think it's great that he trained with Chael Sonnen. And I'm not going to get into Sonnen. I don't want to have some wars over this. I know the MMA community is divided on Chael Sonnen. I am a Sonnen fan. Not a Silva fan, but I do respect what he has done. No doubt about it. I don't disrespect Silva at all. I respect what he's done. I'm not a fan. But that being said, he's a very talented fighter. So this fight, it's very simple. Okami may have trained with Sonnen. He is not Chael Sonnen. He is not aggressive like Chael Sonnen. He is a defensive judo fighter. Okay? He's not as aggressive as Sonnen. You have to bring the fight to Anderson Silva. And look at Okami's fights. I mean, look at his fight against Chael Sonnen. He didn't bring the fight. He got picked apart on his feet. He got out-grappled. He got out-wrestled. And I think Okami, he lacks the aggression. He lacks the aggressiveness. You cannot let Silva get comfortable. Look what Vitor Belfort did. You cannot let him get comfortable because he picks his shots. He's probably one of the most accurate fighters that MMA has ever seen. So, and Silva, hands down, he has the striking advantage. Okami has the wrestling advantage, the BJJ and submission advantage. It could be even, but I'd probably take Silva on that as well. The strength advantage, most definitely Okami. He has the strength. If he's going to win this fight, it's definitely by decision. He's not going to submit. He's not going to submit Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva's got a phenomenal chin. And when it comes down to it, this one's going to end early. I think, personally, Anderson Silva's fighting in Rio. Nobody plays the crowd better than Anderson Silva. I'm not talking about the Damian Maia fight. That was absolutely deplorable and very embarrassing. But he has a lot to prove. Okay, he's the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. People are questioning it. He's going to come out strong in the first round. He's going to stick it to Okami. He's going to win by a TKO. Okami's going to try and sprawl. It's not going to happen. Silva's going to be staying outside the pocket. He's going to be using those kicks. I wouldn't be surprised if we see those front kicks he used against Belfort. And, Silva's going to connect with something. He's going to jump all over Okami. This fight's going to end early. First round TKO. And I know I'm calling TKO in Silva. I know I'm calling TKO Griffin. I know I'm calling KO Shab, and it's rare, but I think that's how it's going to pan out. And if we get some sort of show like this in Rio, we're in for quite a treat. So those are my picks for UFC Rio, and hopefully the power stays on for me tonight, and everybody else on the East Coast who's big MMA fans. We deserve this card, not just the East Coast, but everybody deserves this card. It's been a long time off. We've been waiting for this card for a long time. Hopefully it's everything we've hoped for, and I hope everybody, wherever you are, whether it's with your family, whether you're friends, whether it's by yourself like I'm watching tonight, I hope you have a great time. And to all the MMA fans out there, nothing but the utmost respect. Everybody, we're the best fan base on the planet, and that goes without question. I hope everybody has a great time tonight. Everybody on the East Coast, be safe, careful, and everybody else, enjoy the night. I'm out of here. Enjoy UFC 134 in Rio. Later, everybody. And a shout out to Couch Fighter very quickly. You guys are the best staff on the planet. We're only better things to come in the future. Everybody have a great night. Enjoy.